Hiya, it's Guy here from Off My Bridge, and we are continuing our series of exploring what it is that you could be doing if you were an officer in a particular role within the Star Trek Adventures 2 role-playing game. And today we are looking at the tactical officer. Now, the tactical officer, security officer on board the ship, it's all kind of merged into one. But the tactical officer would appear in Starship Combat to have the most to do. Well, that is true, but then what are they doing when there is no Starship Combat? Well, that's what we're going to be answering in today's episode. Now, there is something that's very important here. These are my opinions on how and what should be done as a tactical officer. Run these past your GM first to make sure that you're all on the same page. All right, so the key mandate of the tactical officer is to understand the situation tactically. It kind of is in the name, but what does that actually mean to understand the situation tactically? Well, obviously, if you are in a starship, to understand your relationship to everything that's in the immediate tactical area is important. And in Starship Combat, that would be everything up to extreme range. But this also comes down to close combat, when you are in personal combat. What is in the room? What's in the environment? Again, up to extreme range. And it goes even further. Because then, if you were in a social situation, what are the tactical situations? Where are you in terms of relationship structures? Who has authority? Who has the upper ground? Who has the lower ground? All of these kinds of things start to come into play. So as a character, you shouldn't be focusing on what to do about it. That's the commander's role. You should be focusing on what is the situation. What is going on? What is the actual tactical situation? And if there are strange things going on, if there's weird effects, not your problem. That is the scientist's problem, or the medical officer's problem, or the engineer's problem. You just need to get facts from them so that you can build up a tactical position. Now, how do you do that? Well, you ask a whole bunch of questions. And the very first one is, what is the tactical situation? Are we surrounded? Do we have lots of exits? Do we have lots of entry points? Are there sniper positions? Are there nebula that enemies might be hiding in? Are there dangerous things that we need to avoid? Are there automatic traps? Understand by asking all of these kinds of questions. What are the threats in the immediate situation? And if there are no apparent threats, where could those threats be? Another question that's really important for you to ask, because it's going to help you build relationships with the other players, characters anyway, is what are their skill sets? What are they good at doing? Do we have a scientist on board? Do we have a scientist with the away team that can give us some more information? The asteroids, do they contain any kind of highly explosive materials? Are they dangerous? The creature that we are dealing with, is it emitting some weird kind of mind-controlling pheromones? Do we need to be aware of this tactically? Look at every situation, look at every crew member that is with you, and determine their tactical advantage. What are they going to do for you? Or what are they going to require from you as the tactical officer? They might not be very good combatants, in which case you need to make sure that you're in the front so that they don't get targeted by whatever potential threat could be there. They might also be absolutely non-combatants, in which case, where do you position them if there is a situation that is perhaps conflict in nature? So understanding the strengths and weaknesses of your team from a combat perspective is really, really important. It also allows you to ask those team members for specific information to help you build up understanding the tactical environment. This is great team play. It's great interpersonal play. It's a lot of fun to do. And it's something that you don't necessarily immediately think of as this is what the tactical officer should be doing. A really easy go-to when you're stuck in terms of analyzing a scene is to ask yourself, what is the most dangerous thing in this environment, in this scene? Is it us? Are we the most dangerous? In which case, that's fine. We have a tactical superiority. Or is it a real superiority? Do we really know what's going on in this scene? Do we really have the power? Is it the Klingons standing opposite us who have the power? Is it someone who would be on high ground who has the power? asking who has the power in the scene is a really good starter to start leading you on your journey of solving this idea tactically. In space combat, of course, you are then looking at where can we position our ship to take the best advantage of the location. Star Trek Adventures 2 doesn't really look at ship positioning or angling or anything along those kind of lines, so you're not looking at it from that perspective. But you are looking at it from ranges. My weapons have these ranges. What range should we be to best capitalize on our ship's systems? And what should we be at in terms of range for enemy ship systems? Very important stuff to look at. Who has the power and how can you shift the power in your favor? It's something that you should always be asking. Now, during downtime, when there is no combat, what is it that your character should be doing? If the GM says, so what are you doing on this 3-day journey from one piece of space to the next? I'm tactically doing stuff. What is that? What could that be? Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff. You can be running drills. Lots of drills. I didn't schedule a drill. Did you schedule a drill? No, but our crew efficiency should improve by 0.75%. You can run drills, you can look at subsystems, you can tweak targeting systems, you can look at working out how to launch ambushes. Again, you can work with your fellow teammates to coach them on what best things to do during combat or during physical combat. You can do training with the crew, just physical training. All right, everyone, I want to report to the holodeck. We're going to be doing training against defending against batleths. We're going to be learning how to infiltrate a Romulan base, all that kind of cool and wonderful stuff. So you can be doing that. You can do personal training. Look at what Worf had. He had his whole silent meditation thing going on, which he loved doing and which didn't do anything mechanically, but it was really super, super cool. Another thing that you can look at during your downtime is to tell the GM that you are studying up on whatever it is, wherever it is that your character is going or thinks they might be going, to look for tactical information. The species that we're going to go make first contact with. What do we know about their technology, their starships, their capabilities? Ask those kinds of questions. It's really, really useful. And hey, it might allow you to create a trait later on. Now, in actual combat, of course, this is where the tactical officer shines. You've got so many things to do, but really it kind of narrows itself down very, very quickly when you realize that you're just pressing the fire button mainly. Fire the phasers, fire the torpedoes. That's pretty much your job. Worrying about all the other kind of stuff, that's the other departments. So that means you need to be able to make sure that you are doing your job to the best of your capabilities. So things like calibrate weapons for extra damage, really, really, really useful. Targeting solution, so you can re-roll or you can choose the system damage. Super cool. However, bearing in mind, the best way to run, say, targeting solutions is target solution determine where the ship is hit is only useful if you have piercing weapons or if you have something that's going to get past the enemy's shields or if they don't have shields. Otherwise, you're just going to be getting that reroll, which is still really useful, but extra damage, I feel, might be more valuable as an opening gambit. You then have modulate shields, which is only really coming in once your shields have taken damage. But are you going to be doing that rather than firing back? Well, that depends on your commander. Don't stress about trying to figure out other stuff. That's the rest of the crew. Rely on the rest of your teams to do stuff. But always communicate, hey, I would really like it if I want to set up to be able to do as much damage as possible. Okay, so the helmsman now knows, don't take evasive maneuvers. The scientist maybe knows to give you some scans to find weaknesses and things. Communicate with your team. Don't just blindly make decisions. That's how starships blow up. When it comes to creating traits, this tactical officer has got a lot to do during battle. And creating traits, I feel, is not going to be one of their major focuses for a battle. But there are a few that I have thought about which are kind of cool to enact. The first one is a masked payload. So what you're doing is you are hiding the ship's armaments from scans, from long-range scans. Anyway, my suggestion would be that the enemy ship can't determine your ship's payload until they are at close range. What this could be used for is to create some deception. Our ship is underpowered, our ship is overpowered, doesn't matter which way you go. So it could be used as an intimidation approach to try and convince the enemy to surrender beforehand or to lure them into a trap. The next one, rotating shields. All that this does is, because you're rotating the shield frequencies, it just changes the intense option on the enemy weapons from, instead of costing only 1 momentum, it now costs 2 momentum or 2 threat. It's just a simple little thing to basically counteract the intense option of weapons. Armed and prepared is another trait that I thought could be quite cool. Again, it's very specific, however, and could be a trait that you create, especially if your research indicates that you're going against species who favor hand-to-hand combat. Klingons, the Gorn, species like that, rather than those that favor ranged attacks like Romulans and things. But most likely to board, what Armed and Prepared would do as a trait, it would mean that your security personnel are all prepped for an incoming assault, and so as a result, they maybe get +1 to the damage that they inflict against intruders, or intruders have a +1 difficulty to hit them because they've taken up defensive positions and things. They're expecting an attack. Think about the attack on Deep Space Nine by the Klingons during the Klingon invasion, or by the Dominion forces. It could be something along those lines. This is how I run tactical officers. What do you do? Do you do anything differently? Do you have different suggestions? Put it in the comments down below so we can all become better tactical officers by understanding what needs to go into being a tactical officer. Until next week, all I can say is a huge thank you to my wonderful, wonderful patrons, and of course to you for watching all the way until the end. Until next week, live long and happy gaming.